What is up, cinephiles? Welcome back to Screen Kings. Today's video is going to be a review of a French drama horror film called The Swarm, or its French title, La Nuée, directed by Philippot. This is not to be confused with the 1978 film of the same name. That one is more focused on killer beasts. In here we have killer locusts. Our main protagonist here is named Virginie, played by Suliane Brahim. She's a single mother whose farm business is on the verge of bankruptcy. So she decides to breed on these edible locusts, which are actually high source of protein. And one day she accidentally learns that these locusts are drawn to blood. They thrive in blood. Now she really needs the money, so she will make a lot of tough calls to provide that blood. Now, before I continue with this review, quick reminder guys, if you haven't subscribed yet to the channel, please do so. Hit that subscribe button for weekly reviews of movies and TV shows. And while you're at it, give this video a like because it really helps the channel. Now, looking at the premise of the movie, you can say that this movie is very ripe for a B-movie treatment. And how I wish the movie went that way, maybe it will be more enjoyable. That is not to say that this movie is bad. It's just that it didn't go on the route that I was expecting. If you're looking for a horror thriller creature feature movie where a bunch of locusts decimating the whole town, you will be sorely disappointed because this is not that movie. This is actually a family drama focusing on the relationships, all those awkward silences, all those uncomfortable chats. There's a tragic backstory in the family that's embedded in the dialogues. That is the main meat of the movie. It's a family drama, and then we have here some gore. A lot of grotesque things will happen here, and I like the restraint of the filmmaker here because he does not throw these graphic images at you all at once. And there's something scarier and more effective in that approach because you're not desensitized with those graphic images. If you're an impatient person, you're gonna have a struggle watching this movie because it's just a slow burn thriller that really burns slow. But I have to admire this film is not going on its tendency to go on a B-movie treatment because that will be the easy option. That will be the campy and the more clickbaity option. The approach here is actually more of a slice of life approach, more on the mundane family events, very much what French cinema represents. And if you're a fan of a genre cinema, I'm almost certain that you're going to dislike or be disappointed with this movie because by the end of it, it feels like this movie has a lot of untapped potential when it comes to execution. And frankly, I like both styles. But when it comes to this premise, I have to agree that it's the genre cinema approach that I think would have work better for this film. Now, for my viewing experience, I was looking for two things here. First would have to be the dread, and that is something that you can find on the first two acts of the movie. And the movie is successful on that note because the whole film is scored by the sound of the locust screeching. It almost gets into you. You feel like they're just by the distance. These locusts are becoming more powerful. They are being fed with more blood throughout the film. You can hear that the screeching sounds get louder as the film ends. And the other factor that I'm looking for, probably what I needed the most, is the tension and the suspense, which unfortunately this film runs short on its supply because of its approach, the French cinema slice of life approach. And this movie is just so defiant on using any of the formula when it comes to genre filmmaking. And it's not a bad thing per se because you can use that genre style of filmmaking and still show restraint. I know that the filmmaker can do that. The story is good. The story is already there. There's just no tension or suspense. I was supposed to be on my toes watching this, but no, I didn't feel that. But let's talk about one of the strengths of the movie, and that has to be its cinematography. Now, watching this, I felt like I'm watching some sort of a nature documentary because we got a lot of close-up shots, high-definition shots of locusts, seeing their muscle movement and their follicles from their arms. Over time, you see some locusts cannibalizing each other. It's a bit gross. Now, if you're someone who has a phobia of insects, I might have to say to stay away from this one because this one will really get into you. But what's more terrifying here is the character of Virginie, played by Suliane Brahim. She's painted initially as a strong and empowered woman. She's very tenacious. If she wants something, she's going to work hard for it. And she's a single mother, so she feels like she needs to prove a lot to herself and she needs to be a provider. And when she can't provide these things for her family, it's a bit hard to take. So you can see the desperation in her eyes, and sometimes when you see someone who's just so desperate, no matter how noble the intentions are, they slowly turn into a pathetic person and they become eventually unlikable. And I know it's a horrible thing to say, but that's what I felt like while I was watching this character. Her actions throughout the movie is way more terrifying than the locust. The progression of her character as she goes down the rabbit hole of desperation is just so sad, especially when you look at this on the commentary aspect, because farmers, they put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into their work. It's a whole day work when it comes to harvesting, whether it comes to plants or in this case, insects. And kind of feels heartbreaking when farmers, they don't sell everything that they have. When you really try your best to get the output that you want, sometimes it does not go for the better. It actually turns out to be worse. I was reminded of another Oscar-nominated film, Minari, just because the main characters there are both driven to provide for their family, and there's just this loneliness that's engulfing them. Now onto the ending. The climax of the movie happens on the last 15 minutes or so, and my complaint here is everything wraps up too quickly. Not all of the subplots are resolved by the end of it. There's this one subplot of the teenage daughter of Virginie. She has a lot of angst. She definitely falls on the annoying teenager category, but you can definitely sense where she's coming from, because she's getting bullied by her classmates because her mom is this crazy lady who breeds these bugs and she wants an improvement of her lifestyle. I feel like that arc didn't get a impactful resolution, and just the way that things wrapped up, just when things are about to get bigger or more interesting, the movie has to go on an abrupt ending, and maybe just because of the budgetary constraints. In conclusion, I would have to say this movie is not for everyone, but I also have to say I have not seen a movie like this that goes on a horror movie with a very French cinema style of slice of life approach. The acting is good. You might have to be required some suspension of disbelief because you might be questioning some of the things how they happened here, and there are a lot of stupid decisions done by a lot of characters, though most of these characters are acting on their impulses. Maybe that will throw you off, but this movie is unpredictable. I wouldn't say that this one got under my skin, because apart from that striking images, the story just fell flat because of the chosen execution again. So I'm gonna have to give this one a 2.5 out of 5 stars. Now again, if you have phobia of insects, this whole experience might be different for you. So let me know what you guys think in the comment sections down below. Also, if you enjoyed watching this video, hit that like and subscribe to us for our weekly content. Thank you so much guys for watching. Until then, I'll see you on the next one.